The morning sun cast long shadows across the courtyard of Buckingham Palace as Queen Camilla made her way through the grand corridors. It was a Tuesday in late autumn, and the palace buzzed with its usual activity. Staff members hurried past with purpose, their footsteps echoing against the marble floors. Camilla had always been fascinated by the people who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to keep the royal household running smoothly as she rounded the corner near the main entrance. She noticed something unusual. A group of royal guards stood in formation, but they weren't at their typical posts. Instead, they were gathered around a small table where one of their colleagues sat hunched over what appeared to be a puzzle book. The sight was so unexpected that Camilla paused, her curiosity getting the better of her royal composure. The guards hadn't noticed her presence yet. She watched as they took turns looking at the puzzle, each one offering suggestions in hushed tones. Their red tunics and tall bearskin hats made them look imposing, but their animated discussion about the brain teaser revealed a more human side that the public rarely saw. Sergeant Williams, a veteran guard with over 15 years of service, was holding the puzzle book. His weathered face showed concentration as he studied the page. The other guards leaned in closer, their usual military discipline relaxed in this informal moment. They were completely absorbed in trying to solve what appeared to be a particularly challenging logic problem. Camilla found herself smiling at the scene. She had always believed that intelligence came in many forms, and seeing these dedicated men engage with mental challenges during their break time impressed her. The royal guards were known for their physical prowess, discipline, and unwavering dedication to protecting the royal family. However, this moment revealed their intellectual curiosity, something that wasn't often highlighted in their job descriptions. Moving closer, she could see that the puzzle was a complex mathematical riddle involving patterns and sequences. The guards were genuinely struggling with it, but their determination was evident. They weren't giving up easily, and their collaborative approach showed the same teamwork that made them excellent at their primary duties. Private Johnson, one of the younger guards, suggested a different approach to the problem. His fresh perspective caught the attention of his more experienced colleagues, who listened respectfully to his ideas. The dynamic between them was fascinating to observe. Here was a perfect example of how different minds could work together. Regardless of rank or experience, Camilla had always been interested in puzzles herself. During her younger years, she had spent countless hours working on crosswords and brain teasers. She understood the satisfaction that came from solving a particularly difficult problem and the frustration when the solution seemed just out of reach. Watching the guards experience these same emotions reminded her of her own puzzle-solving adventures. The Queen noticed that the guards were approaching the problem in different ways. Some focused on the mathematical aspects, while others tried to find visual patterns. One guard even suggested they work backwards from the given answer choices. Their varied approaches demonstrated different types of intelligence and problem-solving skills. She continued to observe. Camilla realized that this moment presented a unique opportunity. She had often wondered about the intellectual capabilities of the people who served the royal household in various capacities. The guards, in particular, were selected primarily for their physical fitness and dedication, but she suspected that many of them possessed sharp minds that weren't fully utilized in their current roles. The conversation among the guards grew more animated as they debated different solutions. Their passion for solving the puzzle was infectious, and Camilla found herself wanting to join their discussion. She had some ideas about the problem herself, but she wasn't sure how her intervention would be received. Sergeant Williams scratched his head under his bearskin hat, clearly frustrated by the elusive solution. The other guards offered encouragement, but it was obvious they were all stumped. The puzzle had been designed to challenge even highly educated individuals, and despite their best efforts, the answer remained out of reach. Camilla made a decision that would surprise everyone present, including herself. Instead of simply walking past or quietly observing from a distance, she decided to approach the group. Her natural curiosity and genuine interest in the guards' intellectual exercise overcame any concerns about protocol or propriety. The sound of her approaching footsteps on the marble floor caught the attention of Private Thompson, who immediately straightened and prepared to salute. However, Camilla raised her hand in a gentle gesture, indicating that formal protocols weren't necessary at that moment. Her warm smile put the guards at ease. Though they remained respectfully attentive, she gestured toward the puzzle book with genuine interest. The guards exchanged glances, unsure of how to respond to the Queen's unexpected interest in their brain-teaser session. Sergeant Williams held up the book, showing her the problem that had been challenging them for the past 30 minutes. Looking at the puzzle, Camilla felt a familiar excitement. It was indeed a complex problem involving logical reasoning and pattern recognition. She could see why the guards had been struggling with it. The solution required a specific way of thinking that wasn't immediately obvious. However, her years of experience with similar puzzles gave her some insights that might prove helpful. The guards watched with curious anticipation as the Queen studied the problem. They had never imagined that a member of the royal family would show such genuine interest in their recreational activities. This unexpected interaction was breaking down barriers and creating a moment of human connection that transcended their usual formal relationship. Camilla could sense the guards' anticipation and slight nervousness. They were probably wondering what she thought of their puzzle-solving session and whether she approved of their use of break time for such activities. Her next words and actions would set the tone for what was about to become a most unusual and memorable encounter between royalty and the dedicated individuals who protected them. Camilla looked up from the puzzle book with a thoughtful expression. The guards stood in respectful silence, waiting to see what the Queen would say about their intellectual challenge. She could feel their curiosity mixed with a touch of anxiety about her unexpected presence during their informal moment. With a gentle smile, Camilla surprised everyone by expressing genuine admiration for their dedication to mental exercise. She told them that she had always believed the best guardians were those who exercised both their bodies and their minds. Her words immediately put the group at ease, and she could see the relief wash over their faces. The conversation that followed revealed something remarkable. As each guard began to share their thoughts about the puzzle, Camilla discovered that these men possessed diverse educational backgrounds and interests that went far beyond their military training. Sergeant Williams had studied engineering before joining the Guard. Private Johnson held a degree in mathematics. Private Thompson had been a teacher before deciding to serve the royal family. This discovery sparked an idea in Camilla's mind. She found herself wondering just how many talented individuals served the royal household whose intellectual capabilities were never fully explored or acknowledged. The guards before her were clearly intelligent, thoughtful people who had chosen to dedicate their careers to service, but their mental abilities were rarely tested or celebrated. Looking at the puzzle again, Camilla made a spontaneous decision that would surprise everyone present. She suggested that instead of simply solving this one puzzle together, they should engage in a more comprehensive test of their mental abilities. Her proposal was delivered with such enthusiasm that the guards found themselves caught up in her excitement. The idea of an intelligence test wasn't meant as a challenge to prove who was smarter. Rather, Camilla explained, it would be an opportunity to celebrate the diverse ways that human minds could work and problem solve. She had always been fascinated by different types of intelligence and how various approaches could lead to successful solutions. Sergeant Williams, speaking for the group, expressed their willingness to participate in whatever the Queen had in mind. The other guards nodded in agreement, their initial surprise giving way to genuine interest. They could see that this wasn't going to be a formal examination, but rather an engaging exploration of their capabilities. Camilla suggested they move to a more comfortable setting where they could really focus on the mental challenges ahead. The palace library, with its comfortable seating and quiet atmosphere, seemed like the perfect location for their impromptu intelligence testing session. The guards agreed, and they began making their way through the palace corridors. As they walked, the conversation continued to reveal the depth of the guards' interests and knowledge. Private Johnson mentioned his fascination with theoretical physics, while Private Thompson discussed his love of historical research. Sergeant Williams shared his ongoing interest in architectural design and how it influenced his appreciation for the palace's construction. The Queen listened with genuine interest to each guard's personal passions. She realized that the royal household was filled with individuals whose talents extended far beyond their job descriptions. This revelation made her even more excited about the intelligence test she was proposing. It would be a chance to see these hidden talents in action. Upon reaching the library, Camilla began outlining what she had in mind. The test would consist of various types of challenges designed to showcase different forms of intelligence. There would be logical reasoning problems, spatial puzzles, memory challenges, and creative problem-solving scenarios. Each type would allow different minds to shine in their own unique ways. The guards found themselves drawn into the Queen's enthusiasm. Her approach was inclusive rather than competitive, emphasizing discovery rather than judgment. They began to understand that this was an opportunity to learn about themselves and each other in ways they never had before Camilla explained that she would participate alongside them, making it clear that this was a collaborative exploration rather than a test where she would judge their performance. Her willingness to put herself in the same position, as the guards further encouraged their participation and created an atmosphere of mutual respect and curiosity. The library's atmosphere seemed perfect for their intellectual adventure. Tall shelves lined with countless books created a scholarly environment that inspired serious thought. Comfortable chairs arranged around sturdy tables provided an ideal setting for concentrated mental work. Large windows let in natural light that would help keep their minds alert and focused. As they settled into their chairs, Camilla began gathering materials for their intelligence test. She pulled various puzzle books from the shelves, found paper and pencils for written exercises, and even located a chess set that could be used for strategic thinking challenges. Her preparations showed that she was taking this exercise seriously while maintaining its informal and enjoyable nature. The guards watched with growing excitement as the Queen assembled their testing materials. They had never imagined that they would find themselves in such a situation, but the experience was proving to be both unexpected and delightful. The formal barriers that usually existed between royalty and staff were temporarily set aside in favor of human curiosity and intellectual exploration. Private Johnson asked what types of challenges they might expect, and Camilla explained that she wanted to include problems that would test various cognitive abilities. Some would require quick thinking, others would need careful analysis, and still others would demand creative approaches. The variety would ensure that everyone had opportunities to demonstrate their strengths. The anticipation in the room was building as they prepared to begin their intellectual journey together. None of them could have predicted how this casual encounter with a puzzle book would evolve into such an engaging exploration of human intelligence and capability. The stage was set for discoveries that would surprise everyone involved, including the Queen herself. The intelligence test began with a series of logical reasoning problems that Camilla had carefully selected from various puzzle collections in the palace library. She distributed the first set of challenges, explaining that everyone would work on the same problem simultaneously, allowing them to compare different approaches and solutions. Afterward, the first challenge involved a complex sequence of numbers and symbols where participants needed to identify the underlying pattern and predict the next elements in the series. As they worked, Camilla observed how each person approached the problem differently. Sergeant Williams methodically wrote out each step of his reasoning, while Private Johnson seemed to work more intuitively, testing different hypotheses quickly in his mind. What struck Camilla most was the collaborative spirit that emerged naturally among the group. Even though they were working on individual problems, the guards began sharing insights and asking questions that helped everyone think more clearly. This cooperative approach revealed something important about their characters that went beyond raw intelligence. Private Thompson surprised everyone by solving the first puzzle with an elegant solution that no one else had considered. His approach involved recognizing that the sequence wasn't purely mathematical but incorporated elements of wordplay that required knowledge of both numbers and language. His success earned genuine appreciation from his colleagues and demonstrated the value of diverse thinking styles. The second challenge involved spatial reasoning, requiring participants to mentally manipulate three-dimensional objects and predict how they would look from different angles. Camilla had chosen this type of problem because she knew it often revealed talents that weren't obvious in traditional academic settings. Sergeant Williams excelled at the spatial challenges, his engineering background clearly providing him with strong visual processing abilities. He could quickly rotate complex shapes in his mind and accurately predict their appearance from any angle. His explanations of his mental processes helped the others understand new ways to approach similar problems as they moved through various challenges. A picture began to emerge of the diverse intellectual strengths present in their small group. Private Johnson's mathematical abilities were complemented by Private Thompson's linguistic intelligence and Sergeant Williams's spatial reasoning skills. Each person brought unique capabilities to their collective problem-solving efforts. Camilla found herself genuinely impressed by the depth of talent she was witnessing. These guards, whose primary job was physical protection and ceremonial duties, were demonstrating intellectual abilities that would be valued in any academic or professional setting. Their performance was challenging. Her own preconceptions about the people who served the royal household, the Queen decided to introduce a memory challenge that would test both short-term recall and the ability to organize information effectively. She read aloud a complex story filled with specific details about people, places, dates, and events, then asked everyone to write down as many accurate details as they could remember. The results of the memory test revealed another dimension of their cognitive abilities. While some excelled at remembering factual details like names and numbers, others were better at retaining the emotional content and overall structure of the story. These different memory strengths showed how various minds processed and stored information in unique ways. Private Thompson demonstrated an exceptional ability to remember dialogue and conversations, accurately recalling not just the words but the tone and emotion behind them. This skill, Camilla realized, would be incredibly valuable in his guard duties where attention to interpersonal dynamics could be crucial for security purposes. As they discussed their memory test results, the guards began sharing stories about how they used their mental abilities in their regular duties. Sergeant Williams explained how his spatial awareness helped him quickly assess potential security risks in crowds. Private Johnson described using mathematical probability to evaluate different threat scenarios. These revelations showed Camilla that intelligence testing wasn't just an academic exercise, it was revealing how these dedicated individuals were already using their mental abilities to excel at their protective duties in ways she had never fully appreciated. Their intellectual capabilities were directly contributing to the safety and security of the royal family. The next challenge involved creative problem-solving, where participants were given unusual scenarios and asked to develop innovative solutions. Camilla presented them with hypothetical security situations that required thinking outside conventional protocols while maintaining safety and effectiveness. The guards approached these creative challenges with enthusiasm, drawing on their practical experience while exploring new possibilities. Their solutions often combined traditional security wisdom with innovative thinking, creating approaches that were both practical and original. The exercise demonstrated how real-world experience could enhance creative thinking abilities. Private Johnson proposed a security solution that incorporated advanced mathematical modeling to predict crowd behavior patterns. His idea was sophisticated enough to interest security professionals while remaining practical enough for actual implementation. The combination of theoretical knowledge and practical experience produced remarkably effective results. As they worked through more challenges, Camilla began to understand that intelligence testing in this context was revealing something more important than individual cognitive abilities. It was showing how different types of intelligence could work together to create solutions that none of them could achieve alone. The collaborative aspect of their testing session was producing insights that went beyond what any individual assessment could provide. The guards were learning about each other's strengths and developing new ways to work together more effectively. Their intellectual exploration was building stronger teamwork and mutual respect. Camilla realized that this spontaneous intelligence test was turning into something much more significant than she had originally intended. It was becoming a demonstration of the untapped potential that existed within the people who dedicated their lives to serving others. And it was revealing new possibilities for how that potential might be better recognized and utilized. The intelligence testing session had been running for about 30 minutes when Camilla decided to introduce the most challenging puzzle yet. She had been saving this particular brain teaser because she knew it would truly test the limits of their problem-solving abilities. The puzzle was a complex logical scenario that required multiple steps of reasoning and the ability to hold several pieces of information in mind simultaneously. As she explained the challenge, Camilla could see the guards' faces light up with determination. They had been gaining confidence with each successful solution, and their enthusiasm for mental challenges had grown considerably. What had started as a casual encounter with a puzzle book had transformed into a serious, intellectual adventure that all participants were thoroughly enjoying. The puzzle involved a fictional scenario where 5 different people with various professions, ages, and preferences needed to be matched with specific houses, cars, and pets based on a complex set of clues. Each clue provided partial information that had to be combined with other clues to reach the complete solution. The challenge required systematic thinking and careful attention to detail. Sergeant Williams immediately began creating a grid on his paper, organizing the information in a way that would help him track different possibilities systematically. His engineering background was evident in his methodical approach to breaking down the complex problem into manageable components that could be analyzed. Step by step, Private Johnson took a different approach, reading through all the clues multiple times before beginning to work on solutions. He seemed to be building a mental model of the entire puzzle before attempting to solve any individual part. His mathematical training was showing in his preference for understanding the complete structure before focusing on specific details. Private Thompson began working with the language aspects of the clues, paying careful attention to the exact wording and looking for subtle hints that others might miss. His background in education had taught him to read carefully and identify important information that wasn't immediately obvious to casual readers. Camilla found herself fascinated by watching these 3 different approaches to the same problem. Each guard was using his unique intellectual strengths and background knowledge to tackle the challenge in his own way. Their diverse methods demonstrated how the same goal could be reached through multiple valid pathways. They worked. The guards occasionally shared observations or asked questions about specific clues. Their collaboration remained respectful and supportive, with each person contributing insights without trying to dominate the problem-solving process. This cooperative spirit was creating an atmosphere where everyone's contributions were valued and considered. After about 15 minutes of concentrated work, Private Thompson announced that he thought he had found the solution. The others looked up from their papers with interest, eager to hear his reasoning and compare it with their own progress. Camilla encouraged him to explain his thinking process step by step. Thompson's solution was remarkably elegant and well-reasoned. He had identified a key insight early in the puzzle that allowed him to eliminate several impossible combinations quickly. His explanation was clear and logical, demonstrating not just his ability to solve the problem but also his skill at communicating complex reasoning to others. Sergeant Williams checked Thompson's solution against his own systematic grid and confirmed that all the clues were satisfied correctly. His verification process was thorough and methodical, showing how his engineering mindset approached validation and quality control. The combination of Thompson's insight and Williams's verification created a powerful problem-solving partnership. Private Johnson had been working toward a similar solution using his mathematical approach. but he admitted that Thompson's linguistic insights had revealed shortcuts that he had missed. This acknowledgement demonstrated intellectual humility and showed how different cognitive styles could complement each other effectively. Camilla was genuinely impressed by the quality of their problem-solving and the gracious way they handled both success and areas for improvement. The guards were demonstrating not just intelligence, but also the emotional maturity and collaborative spirit that made them excellent team members in any context. The success with the complex logic puzzle encouraged Camilla to present an even more challenging scenario. She selected a strategic thinking exercise that required participants to consider multiple variables, anticipate consequences, and develop long-term plans under conditions of uncertainty. This type of challenge would test their ability to think several steps ahead while adapting to changing circumstances. The strategic exercise involved a hypothetical security situation where the guards needed to develop a comprehensive protection plan for a royal visit to an unfamiliar location. They were given limited information about the venue, potential risks, available resources, and time constraints. Their task was to create a detailed plan that addressed all major concerns while remaining flexible enough to handle unexpected developments. This challenge was particularly relevant to their actual duties, and the guards approached it with professional interest as well as intellectual curiosity. They could draw on their real-world experience while exercising their strategic thinking abilities in new ways. The combination of practical knowledge and intellectual challenge created an engaging and meaningful exercise. Working together, they began analyzing the scenario from multiple perspectives. Sergeant Williams focused on physical security aspects, using his spatial reasoning abilities to evaluate the venue layout and identify potential vulnerabilities. His systematic approach helped establish a solid foundation for their overall strategy. Private Johnson applied mathematical principles to risk assessment, calculating probabilities and analyzing resource allocation options. His quantitative approach provided objective data that supported their strategic decision-making process. The numerical analysis added precision and clarity to their planning efforts. Private Thompson concentrated on communication and coordination aspects, developing protocols for information sharing and response coordination. His understanding of human psychology and group dynamics contributed important elements that purely technical approaches might overlook. As they worked through the strategic exercise, Camilla realized that she was witnessing something remarkable. These guards were demonstrating intellectual capabilities that exceeded what anyone might expect from people in their positions. More importantly, they were showing how intelligence could be practically applied to improve their effectiveness in their chosen profession. The strategic planning exercise had taken nearly 20 minutes to complete, and the guards had developed a comprehensive security plan that impressed Camilla with its thoroughness and creativity. Their solution demonstrated not only individual intelligence but also their ability to synthesize different expertise areas into a cohesive strategy that was both practical and innovative. As they finished explaining their strategic plan, Camilla made a decision that would surprise everyone in the room, including herself. She announced that she wanted to participate more directly in the intelligence testing rather than simply observing and facilitating. Her competitive spirit had been awakened by watching the guards tackle challenging problems so effectively. The guards exchanged glances of surprise and interest. The idea of testing their intellectual abilities against the Queen herself was both exciting and somewhat intimidating. However, Camilla's friendly demeanor and genuine enthusiasm made it clear that this would be a fun challenge rather than a formal competition with serious consequences. Camilla suggested that they tackle a final, particularly difficult puzzle together, with everyone working on the same problem simultaneously. She selected a complex mathematical riddle that had multiple layers of difficulty and required several different types of reasoning to solve completely. The puzzle was designed to challenge even highly educated individuals with strong analytical skills. The problem involved a scenario with multiple variables that changed according to specific rules, requiring participants to track patterns, make calculations, and predict outcomes while working under time pressure. It was the type of challenge that would test not only intelligence but also the ability to remain calm and focused under stress. As they began working on the final puzzle, the atmosphere in the library became intensely focused. Everyone bent over their papers, occasionally making quiet calculations or sketching diagrams to help visualize the problem. The only sounds were the scratching of pencils and the occasional thoughtful sigh as someone worked through a particularly difficult section. Camilla found herself completely absorbed in the challenge. Her years of experience with puzzles and brain teasers had prepared her well for this type of problem, but the complexity still demanded her full attention and creativity. She could feel the same excitement and determination that she had observed in the guards throughout their testing session. Private Johnson was making rapid progress with the mathematical calculations. His academic background in mathematics clearly giving him advantages with the quantitative aspects of the problem. However, he seemed to be struggling with some of the logical reasoning elements that required different types of thinking skills. Sergeant Williams was taking his characteristic methodical approach, carefully checking each step of his reasoning before moving on to the next part of the problem. His systematic method was helping him avoid errors, but the time pressure was making his usually reliable process feel somewhat slow and cumbersome. Private Thompson was approaching the puzzle from an unusual angle, focusing on the language and structure of the problem statement itself. He had discovered that some apparent complexities were actually red herrings designed to distract from simpler solution paths. His insights were helping him move through the puzzle more efficiently than expected. As the minutes ticked by, it became clear that this final challenge was genuinely difficult for everyone involved. The puzzle was designed to push cognitive abilities to their limits, and even the most confident problem solvers were finding themselves challenged in ways they hadn't expected. Camilla was making steady progress, but she could see that the guards were also developing sophisticated approaches to the problem. Their different backgrounds and thinking styles were allowing them to tackle the challenge from multiple directions, and she realized that the outcome was far from predetermined. With about 5 minutes remaining in their informal time limit, Private Thompson suddenly looked up with excitement. He had made a breakthrough that allowed him to see the puzzle from a completely different perspective. His discovery revealed that the problem could be solved much more elegantly than any of them had initially realized. Thompson quickly explained his insight to the group, and everyone began testing his approach against their own work. The mathematical verification confirmed that his reasoning was sound, and his solution method was indeed more efficient than the approaches the others had been using. Camilla felt a moment of genuine surprise as she realized that Private Thompson had solved the puzzle faster and more elegantly than she had. Her initial assumption about the intellectual dynamics of their group had been challenged in the most pleasant way possible. The guard had demonstrated problem-solving abilities that exceeded her own in this particular instance. The other guards were equally impressed by Thompson's solution, and they gathered around to study his reasoning process more carefully. His explanation revealed insights that none of them had considered, showing how a fresh perspective could unlock solutions that remained hidden to more conventional approaches. As they discussed Thompson's solution, Camilla realized that something significant had just happened. In the span of barely 30 seconds, her assumptions about intellectual capabilities and the nature of intelligence itself had been fundamentally challenged. The young guard had demonstrated that brilliance could emerge from unexpected places and in unexpected ways. The moment was particularly striking because it represented a complete reversal of the social and intellectual dynamics that everyone had assumed would govern their testing session. Instead of the queen demonstrating superior intellectual abilities to her guards, one of the guards had clearly outperformed everyone else, including her. Camilla found herself experiencing a complex mixture of surprise, admiration, and genuine delight. The shock wasn't negative. It was the positive shock of discovering something wonderful and unexpected. She had set out to explore the intellectual capabilities of her guards and had ended up discovering talents that exceeded even her optimistic expectations. The implications of this moment were beginning to sink in for everyone present. This wasn't just about solving puzzles or demonstrating intelligence, it was about recognizing and celebrating human potential in all its diverse forms. The testing session had revealed truths about capability and talent that would influence how they thought about themselves and each other going forward. The silence that followed Private Thompson's elegant solution lasted only a few seconds, but it felt much longer to everyone in the palace library. Camilla stared at the young guard's work with genuine amazement, her mind processing not just his brilliant solution but also the broader implications of what had just occurred during their impromptu intelligence testing session. She had expected to discover that her guards possessed more intellectual capability than their job descriptions might suggest. But Private Thompson's performance had exceeded even her most optimistic expectations. His solution demonstrated a level of analytical thinking and creative problem-solving that would be impressive in any academic or professional setting. The other guards were equally amazed by their colleague's achievement. Sergeant Williams examined Thompson's solution with the careful attention of an engineer evaluating a new design, while Private Johnson verified the mathematical components with his academic background. Both confirmed that Thompson's approach was not only correct but remarkably sophisticated. Camilla realized that her shock wasn't just about Thompson's individual brilliance, though that was certainly impressive. She was shocked by the recognition that the royal household was filled with talented individuals whose capabilities were largely unknown and underutilized. This testing session had revealed just the tip of an intellectual iceberg that deserved much more attention and recognition. The Queen began to speak, her voice filled with genuine admiration for what she had witnessed. She told Thompson that his solution was truly exceptional, and that his analytical abilities would be valuable in any field he chose to pursue. Her words carried weight because they came from someone who had just experienced his intellectual capabilities firsthand, but Camilla's praise extended beyond Thompson to include all the guards who had participated in their testing session. She had observed diverse forms of intelligence and problem-solving ability that impressed her throughout the afternoon. Each person had demonstrated unique strengths that contributed to their collective success. The conversation that followed revealed even more about the guards' backgrounds and aspirations. Thompson mentioned that he had always been interested in pursuing advanced education but had chosen military service first to gain life experience and serve his country. The other guards shared similar stories of intellectual interest that extended far beyond their current duties. Camilla found herself thinking about the broader implications of what she had learned. The royal household employed hundreds of people in various capacities, from guards to staff members to administrative personnel. How many of them possessed hidden talents and capabilities that were never fully recognized or developed? She began discussing with the guards the possibility of creating more opportunities for intellectual development and recognition within the royal household. Perhaps there could be educational programs, problem-solving competitions, or other ways to celebrate and nurture the mental abilities of all the people who dedicated their careers to royal service. The guards responded enthusiastically to these ideas. They had clearly enjoyed the intellectual challenge and the opportunity to demonstrate capabilities that their regular duties rarely required. The testing session had been both fun and meaningful, giving them new insights into their own potential and that of their colleagues. Sergeant Williams suggested that regular mental challenges could actually improve their effectiveness as guards by keeping their minds sharp and encouraging creative thinking about security solutions. His practical perspective showed how intellectual development could directly benefit their professional performance. Private Johnson proposed that they could share problem-solving sessions with other staff members throughout the palace, creating informal opportunities for intellectual engagement and collaboration. His idea reflected the cooperative spirit that had characterized their entire testing session. As their discussion continued, Camilla realized that this spontaneous afternoon had initiated something much more significant than a simple intelligence test. It had opened up new possibilities for recognizing and developing human potential within the royal household and beyond. The Queen decided to make this intellectual exploration a regular occurrence, not just for the guards, but for any staff members who were interested in participating. She envisioned monthly problem-solving sessions where people from different departments could come together to tackle challenging puzzles and exercises. These regular sessions would serve multiple purposes beyond entertainment. They would help identify hidden talents, encourage collaboration across different areas of the household, provide opportunities for personal development, and demonstrate the royal family's appreciation for the intellectual capabilities of their dedicated staff members. The guards were excited about the prospect of ongoing intellectual challenges and the opportunity to work with colleagues from other departments. They could see how such programs would make their work environment even more engaging and fulfilling, while potentially revealing new ways to excel in their current roles. As they began gathering up the puzzle books and papers from their testing session, Camilla reflected on the afternoon's unexpected journey. What had started as a casual observation of gods working on a puzzle had evolved into a profound exploration of human potential and the importance of recognizing intelligence in all its diverse forms. The 31 seconds it had taken Private Thompson to solve the final puzzle had certainly shocked her, but it was a wonderful shock that opened her eyes to possibilities she hadn't previously considered. The experience had changed her understanding of the people who served the royal household, and had inspired new ideas about how their talents could be better appreciated and developed. Walking back through the palace corridors, Camilla felt energized by the afternoon's discoveries. She had not only witnessed impressive intellectual capabilities, but had also experienced the joy that came from challenging assumptions and discovering new truths about human potential. The guards beside her were no longer just protective personnel. They were intelligent, capable individuals whose talents deserved recognition and opportunity. The testing session had ended, but its impact would continue to influence how the Queen thought about intelligence, service, and the remarkable people who dedicated their lives to others. What had begun as a simple puzzle had revealed profound insights about recognizing and celebrating human capability in all its unexpected forms.